Hi guys, it's Yada D, and we actually have a guest. My first time guest. It's actually my sister, and we're gonna call this Ladies Night.
What up, y'all?
The wig is fake, but anyway.
Hey, oh my god. Public.
So this is Ladies Night, where there's no guys around, and we have those girl talks. We still talk about men, but we talk about the bad shit about ourselves, cause they're not around. So we get a chance to vent with a little wine. So this is my sister, so we're not gonna be too, cause I know all her business or whatever.
Oh my god.
But that's not y'all business. So I'm gonna ask her a few questions, like it's girls' night, of course. So, yeah, why you single, girl?
Alright, so I'm super single for many reasons, but I think the most recent reason I discovered today is I think I need therapy. Like, I'm serious. I really need therapy. I might have like some slight daddy issues. So that I think I really do need therapy. Like, for real. Like, for real. I don't want to say therapy, but you definitely need somebody who's going to be objective. And normally, from what I was reading, therapists, they have to be objective because they don't know you. Normally, sometimes when you speak to people that you know really well, they have their own opinions about you. And that kind of pushes out the information that they give you, and it's not always valid or lucrative. So I had this deep conversation with myself, and I was thinking of how I was raised and who was around, who wasn't around, and it always comes back to my dad. And I never really touch on that subject because it's very sensitive for me, and I'm not really a crier and all of that stuff. So for me to keep coming back to that, it was more of like, you know what, maybe I should deal with it in some form or fashion at some point. So yeah, so maybe I do need like a little therapy. Okay. Or we could just do it today and get it over with. Like 5-minute session. No,
I'm not a therapist. I'm not giving advice. I'm just asking questions and probably figure it out together, because we sisters, and we're women at the same time. So maybe we could figure it out. If you don't have a daddy, that does not determine your relationship with men if you don't allow it to.
Yeah, and let's be real. I'm not one of those people you read about that's like very promiscuous and all of that. Like, some people blame that on their father not being around. I'm like a polar opposite. I actually shut people out. So I think I don't want to say it's a little better, but I mean, my legs haven't been that open. So I want y'all to think that's my stem of my daddy issues. It was more of,
because I used to like older men, but that ain't my daddy issues. I just like older men. Now I don't, because Ron G, which is a whole taboo. But it's
what?
Just went a little left,
like, all the way across the ocean.
But yeah, so I mean, so do you feel like you take advice from people?
No, not. You know what?
She about to lie.
No, I hear the advice. So I had a situation this past couple days, and I hear the advice, and I take it in. Now, whether I follow it to the nail, or if I take parts of the criticism, that's kind of how I kind of dissect what people say to me. I don't take everything that people say, because of course you still have to add your own personal views on everything. And once you do that, then it kind of, if you make it your own. But I do take heed to what people say to me. Although I may not follow exactly what you say, I do listen. I do. Don't look at me like
I'm just asking. That was a long ass yes or no.
Diplomatic, okay.
So what was it, a yes or no?
I do. Yes.
Not.
I do maybe. I'm going to check the maybe box.
But do you feel like you can take people's advice a little bit more?
At this age, that's also a gray area, so it depends on who it is. But I'm just going to continue to say maybe. Because as you get older, and you'll find this out too, you're not too far behind me, but as you get older, you start listening less to people. It's not that they don't know, you're just old enough to be like, well, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what I want to do regardless. So
okay.
And I keep hearing that's like an older trait. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, but the sad part, since I know you, we ain't gonna talk about just because I know her, certain things she's saying just like, No, it's not that. But what I'm saying is, when you were younger, you never took advice. So now, why wouldn't you be open to taking advice? Because do you like every decision that you made, or you could have been, okay, I could have taken the advice and maybe it would have been a little different. Do you ever think that?
Well, no, I never think that. I feel like I said, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been doing exactly what I said earlier, is taking bits and pieces of people, because I'm an actions person, and that's why I said it depends on who it comes from. Because if I see that you're doing something foul, or you're doing this, that, and the third, but then you want to tell me how I gotta toast my bread, like I don't understand. Like,
So, okay.
So that's why.
I'm not sure we said this in the beginning, but Tamara is single.
I am super single. Sorry.
Very single, fellas. So, but the fact that you're single, would you feel like you can take more advice from someone that's in a healthy relationship or married? You would take their advice rather than someone that is single?
Well, I would definitely be more. I'm more open to people who have what we consider successful relationships, or people who have a long-standing relationship with one another and have been able to overcome certain hurdles. Even though if I don't know the whole story, I am more susceptible to receiving that information from them, because I feel like it doesn't have. You don't have to. It's not that you're single, but I feel like people who have been divorced like 1 or 2 times that try to give me advice, how am I supposed to accept this if you've technically, I don't want to say failed, but you failed at what I need advice on. So how am I supposed to take that? So I feel like, it all stems from who you get the advice from. And me being single, I've already established my number one issue at this point. So that's my point. Like I can't establish that.
You don't think that your attitude, you just feel like you're single because of your attitude, not because of the guy? So you kind of blame it on yourself?
I take more responsibility because of that. I know that someone, of course, is going to accept me for who I am, but in reevaluating situations that kind of ended the relationship or the could have been relationships, it was 85% things that I did or said. So I know that I've accepted the responsibility of, okay, you know what?
When have you accepted the responsibility that it
like
was
last week,
85%
like girl, like I just, like
cut, time out. So you just realizing like, oh,
no.
was me.
I was lying. No, I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. Like, just like I said, reevaluating myself, and I had to take each situation piece by piece. I'm like, okay, this was the breaking point, and maybe if I wouldn't have did this, then this wouldn't have led to that, and so it was like a domino effect. So that's the only reason I take more of the responsibility. I'm not saying that they are perfect, trust me, but as far as the relationship ending early, or us conversing or talking, however you want to deem it, that ending early was more on my end. That was more of my responsibility, and it was always something that happened that I could have prevented at that time. Now, if we would have broke up later, who knows? Like, I ended it at 2 months.
So I don't give advice. Sometimes I listen to people and kind of, like you said, dissect certain things. So what I'm getting out of it, somebody that's single, sometimes it's not good to blame it on the person that you dealt with. Sometimes reflect on yourself, you would say?
Yep.
Like, we always, even if you break up with that person, it's not because necessarily, oh, it's because he did this. And you have to still evaluate yourself and figure out what I did wrong.
Yep. What you brought to the party, what you took away from the party. And like I said, every event, sometimes you have to go through each event that you guys had, and you're like, okay, what did I do? And if you feel like it wasn't necessarily you, that's fine. But there has to be a point where you've dated so many people in your life where you have to do a self-reflection. It's very important, because when you don't, you're never going to be able to have a healthy relationship with the next person that you date, because you're going to always try to either compare them to your last person for whatever reason, but then you have to remember you and that person aren't together for a reason. So once you figure out the reasons, then you're able to go on and be a little bit more healthy in what you're looking for and what you're seeking. with whomever.
Okay. Now, question: out of the people that you know, do you feel like you have any inspiration to like you want to be in a relationship or whatever?
Yes, you and Ron G inspire me.
We can tell her to say nothing, but we cut you a check and sing.
Yeah, whatever. Is anyone right now a relationship inspiration for me? Not necessarily, because I'm not really in a place to be in a relationship, so my eyes are not really on that particular portion in my life. I'm more like on the travel side right now. I'm not really in the let me be in a relationship side.
Even being her sister, like I wanted to interview people that I know. I want people that are single, that are in a relationship, that are even just dating. Just to see, you have to dissect certain things. That's why this show is called, do my hands with me, Relationship Goals Unfold. It's pretty much giving you the insides and outs, not just being in a relationship, but being out of a relationship. What's the good and what's the bad? Seeing different people's views on things. So I really like that. And the fact that I do know her and her saying these things is just like, wow, she's really starting to notice things. So hopefully this helps somebody out there that's a Sagittarius, maybe, possibly. Anyway, but maybe this will help you into getting into a relationship or just getting comfortable with yourself and learning yourself before you get in a relationship, because it's not easy. So if you don't know yourself or see your flaws or even your goodness in yourself to be in a relationship, maybe it's not time to be in a relationship. Yep. So this is a good interview. This is pretty good. I appreciate that. So
Clink, clink.
Ron isn't here, but this, like I said, this is ladies' night, okay? So stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll be back.